Hello, everyone. Welcome back to English Active Listening. I'm your host, Alyssa, and today we're diving into a topic that's so important, and I know it's on a lot of your minds. How to speak in English with confidence. Now, I want you to take a moment and think about this. Have you ever felt that little flutter in your stomach? That hesitation? Right before you're about to say something in English? Maybe you have the words in your mind, but they just don't seem to come out right. Or maybe you start speaking, and you get worried that you'll make a mistake, and then you lose your train of thought. If you've ever felt that way, I want you to know, you are absolutely not alone. This is a completely normal part of the language learning journey. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you build, little by little. And today, we're going to create a roadmap for you to help you build that confidence. We'll go through a few key ideas, and for each one, we'll talk about why it's important. I'll give you some clear examples, and then we'll have a chance to practice together, so you can start putting these ideas into action right away. So let's start with our very first point, which is change your mindset. Embrace mistakes as learning opportunities. This is so important. It's fundamental. Many of us are taught to fear mistakes. We see them as a sign of failure. But in language learning, a mistake is a signal. It's your brain saying, "Oh, I need to adjust this. I need to remember this differently next time." Think of it like a scientist in a lab. A scientist tries an experiment, and if it doesn't work the first time, they don't say, "Oh, I failed." No, they say, "Okay, that didn't work. Why? What can I change for the next try?" They learn from it, and you should too. Let's take a simple example. Let's say you want to talk about what you did yesterday, and you say, "Yesterday I go to the park." You might immediately think, "Oh, that's wrong." The correct way is, "Yesterday I went to the park." Now, if you focus on the mistake as a failure, you might feel embarrassed and not want to speak again. But if you see it as a learning opportunity, you can simply correct yourself in your mind, or even out loud. You can say, "Yesterday I went to the park." And guess what? The next time you want to use the past tense of go, your brain will remember that small correction, and you're more likely to say went. See? You've just improved, just by making a mistake and learning from it. So, how can we practice this? I want you to try something with me. I'm going to give you a simple sentence, and I want you to say it out loud, even if you're not sure if it's 100% correct. The goal here is just to speak, not to be perfect. Ready? Let's say you want to tell a friend that you enjoy reading books. How would you say that? Go ahead and say it now, out loud. Maybe you said, "I like read books." That's great. You communicated your idea. The more grammatically correct way would be, "I like to read books," or "I enjoy reading books." But the important thing is that you spoke, and now you've got a chance to hear the alternative and add it to your memory. This is how we build confidence, one small step at a time. We learn that it's okay to try. It's okay to not be perfect. The goal is to communicate, not to be a walking grammar textbook. All right, moving on to our second point. And this one is about something we often overlook. It's about start small, focus on everyday, low-stakes conversations. A lot of people feel like they have to prepare for a big speech or a formal interview. But that's like trying to run a marathon on your first day of jogging. It's too much. The key is to start small. Find opportunities to speak English where there's no pressure. Think about your daily life. What are some small interactions you have? Maybe it's ordering coffee at a cafe, or asking for directions, or just saying hello to a neighbor. These are what we call low-stakes conversations. The pressure is low, and if you make a mistake, it's not a big deal at all. The person you are talking to will likely understand you, and life will go on. But for you, it's a huge victory. It's a moment where you used English, and it worked. That feeling of success, that little spark of, hey, I did it, is what builds confidence. It's like collecting little confidence coins, and each time you use English successfully, you add another coin to your jar. Let's imagine a scenario together. You walk into a coffee shop, and you want to order a regular coffee with a little bit of milk. How would you say that? Think about it, and say it out loud. You might say something like, I want 1 coffee and milk. That's completely understandable, and the person behind the counter will know what you mean. A slightly more natural way might be, could I get a regular coffee, please, with a little milk? But again, the important thing is that you spoke, you got your point across, and you got your coffee. See, a successful interaction, and you've just added another confidence coin to your collection. This also works with talking to yourself. Yes, I know it sounds a little strange, but it's incredibly effective. You can practice simple things in your head, or even out loud. I'm going to cook dinner now. I need to buy some milk from the store. It helps you get used to the rhythm and the sound of your own voice speaking English. And that familiarity is a huge confidence booster. So let's practice this idea together. I'm going to give you a simple prompt, and I want you to say 1 or 2 sentences in English in response. Ready? Imagine you just woke up and you're thinking about what you need to do today. How would you say what you need to do first? Say it out loud. Maybe you said, I need to make breakfast, or I have to brush my teeth. Excellent, you're speaking English. You're using it in a real-life context, even if it's just to yourself. This is the kind of small, low-stakes practice that builds big confidence over time. Now, let's move on to our third point, which is about listen actively and mimic. Don't just hear. This is where the name of our channel, English Active Listening, really comes into play. It's not enough to just listen to English. You have to listen with intention, and then try to copy what you hear. When we listen actively, we're paying attention not just to the words, but to the way they're said, the rhythm, the intonation, the stress. Think of it like a musician listening to a piece of music. They don't just hear the melody. They notice the timing, the dynamics, the way the notes connect. In the same way, you should try to notice these things when you listen to English. And once you notice them, you can try to copy them or mimic them. This is a fantastic way to improve your pronunciation and make your speech sound more natural. It's like training your mouth muscles. Just like a dancer practices a move over and over, you can practice a sound or a phrase over and over. So here's how we can practice this. I'm going to say a short sentence, and I want you to repeat it exactly as you hear it. Pay attention to the rhythm and the up and down of my voice. Ready? What a beautiful day. What a beautiful day. Listen again, and then repeat. What a beautiful day. Now try it one more time on your own. What a beautiful day. Did you notice how my voice went up a little at the end? Or how I put a little extra stress on the word beautiful? These little details are what make your English sound more natural. And when you sound more natural, you feel more confident. Let's try another one. A little bit longer this time. I'm really looking forward to the weekend. Listen again. And then repeat. I'm really looking forward to the weekend. Did you feel the flow of that sentence? The way the words connected? Don't worry about being perfect. Just try to get the feeling right. This is a skill, and like any skill, it gets better with practice. Our fourth point is a really powerful one. It's about prepare simple go-to phrases. Have you ever been in a situation where someone asks you a question and your mind just goes blank? It's a common problem, and it's a big confidence killer. But we can prepare for this by having a few simple phrases ready to go. Think of it like having a small toolbox. You don't need to have every tool in the world. But if you have a few essential ones, you can handle most situations. In English, these essential tools are simple phrases that you can use to buy yourself time, to ask for clarification, or to keep the conversation going. For example, if someone says something you don't understand, instead of just staying silent, which can feel awkward, you can use a go-to phrase like, "Sorry, could you say that again, please?" Or, "I'm not sure I understand." Or, "What do you mean by that?" Having these phrases ready means you're never left completely speechless, and that makes you feel much more in control and much more confident. Let's try practicing some of these. I'm going to say a phrase, and I want you to repeat it out loud. Practice it until it feels natural, like it's a part of you. I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Could you speak a little more slowly, please? Could you speak a little more slowly, please? That's a great question. That's a great question. Could you explain that in a different way? Could you explain that in a different way? Let me think about that for a moment. Let me think about that for a moment. See how powerful these are? They don't require you to be a grammar expert. They're just tools to help you navigate a conversation. And having these tools in your pocket will make you feel so much more prepared and so much more confident. Our fifth point builds on this idea, and it's about focus on communication, not perfection. I mentioned this earlier, but it's so important that it deserves its own point. We sometimes get so caught up in the idea of speaking perfect English that we forget the whole point of a language, which is to communicate, to connect with another person. Think about this. Have you ever talked to someone who is a non-native English speaker, and they have a strong accent, or they make some grammar mistakes, but they speak with a big smile and clear enthusiasm? Do you care about the mistakes, or are you happy to understand them and connect with them? The answer is almost always the second one. We care about the connection, not the perfection. When you speak, try to shift your focus from, "Is this grammatically correct?" to, "Am I getting my point across?" Use your hands. Use your face. Use simple words. These are all ways to communicate, even when your words might not be perfect. The more you focus on connecting, the less you'll worry about making a mistake, and the more confident you'll become. So here's a little practice for this. I'm going to give you a simple idea, And I want you to try to communicate it using just the simplest words you can think of. Don't worry about grammar at all. The only goal is to get the idea across. Imagine you want to tell a friend that you had a very busy day at work. How would you communicate that? Go ahead and try to say it out loud. You might say, "My work today, very busy." Or, "I work a lot today." That's perfectly clear. A native speaker would likely say, "I had a really busy day at work." But your version gets the point across perfectly. And that's what matters. And guess what? When you get the point across, you feel successful. And that success builds confidence. Let's try one more. Imagine you want to tell a friend that you are feeling a little tired. How would you say that? Go ahead and say it out loud. Maybe you said, "I am tired now," or "I feel sleepy." These are simple, clear, and effective. And that effectiveness is the most important thing. Our sixth point is one that might sound a little strange, but it's incredibly effective. It's about record yourself and listen back. I know the sound of your own voice can sometimes be a little shocking, but this is a truly powerful tool for building confidence. When you record yourself speaking English, you're doing a few things at once. First, you're becoming more comfortable with the sound of your own voice speaking English, and that familiarity is key. Second, you're creating a little time capsule of your progress. You can listen to a recording from today, and then listen to another one a month from now, and you'll be able to hear how much you've improved. And that's a huge confidence booster. And third, it gives you a chance to be your own teacher. You can listen back and notice things. "Oh, I said that word a little differently." Or, "I could have used a different phrase there." It's a low-pressure way to self-correct and learn. So let's try a little recording practice. I want you to take out your phone, or whatever device you can use to record your voice. I'm going to give you a simple paragraph, and I want you to read it out loud and record yourself. Don't worry about how it sounds. Just read it naturally. "Today, I'm feeling a little bit tired. I had a long day at work, but I'm happy to be home now. I think I'll make some tea and just relax for a little while." Go ahead and try to record yourself reading that. And now, listen back to your recording. What do you notice? Maybe you notice a word you want to practice more, or a phrase that you feel good about. The goal isn't to judge yourself harshly, but to listen and learn, and to celebrate the fact that you just spoke a whole paragraph in English. That's a huge accomplishment. Our seventh and final point for today is find a speaking partner or group. This might be the most challenging one for some people, but it's also one of the most rewarding. Speaking is a two-way street, and it's hard to get good at it without a partner. A speaking partner doesn't have to be a native English speaker. It can be another language learner. It can be a friend. The goal is simply to have a person to practice with, someone you can have a low-pressure conversation with, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Having a partner forces you to think on your feet, to respond in real time. And that's the best kind of practice there is. You can use apps, websites, or even find a local group. Just having a regular time, maybe once or twice a week, to speak English with another person will do wonders for your confidence. You'll start to realize that you can have a real conversation, that people can understand you, and that's an incredible feeling. So here's a little idea for your practice. If you don't have a speaking partner yet, You can pretend I'm your partner for a moment. I'm going to ask you a simple question, and I want you to answer it out loud as if you were talking to me. What's one thing you did today that made you smile? Go ahead and answer that question. Say it out loud. Maybe you said, I saw a funny video, or my friend sent me a nice message, or I drank a delicious cup of coffee. Whatever you said, you just had a little conversation. You just practiced your English, and that's what builds confidence. So, there you have it. 7 key ideas to help you build your English speaking confidence. Remember, it's a journey, not a race. Start with changing your mindset. Embrace mistakes. Start with small, low-stakes conversations. Listen actively and mimic. Prepare some simple go-to phrases. Focus on communicating. Record yourself and listen back. And find a speaking partner. Each one of these steps is a small win, and each small win builds on the last. Until one day, you'll find yourself speaking English, and you won't even be thinking about being confident anymore, because it will just be a part of who you are. Thank you so much for joining me today on English Active Listening. I'm Alyssa, and I'll see you next time.